Hi there, everyone. Today is Truther Tuesday. This is Inner Power Training. I'm Rebecca. Got my X39 patch on. You really should check these out. I don't have a pain in my body anymore. And I find that if I stop wearing them for a few days, I get a little achy. They're amazing. I've been wearing them for a little over 2 years now. I started wearing them because my throat chakra was blocked. I could hardly talk for a few months, and I started wearing it right here on my throat. I wear it down here now. And sometimes I wear it on the back of my neck or under my navel. You can put them on different parts of your body, and you wear it for 12 hours, take it off for 12 hours while you're sleeping, or vice versa, whichever you like to do. And they really do stimulate your body in a positive way. I think they're stimulating my stem cells. They're activating the peptides in my body that are anti-aging. I have another birthday coming up next month. I'll be 79, but age doesn't bother me. But I'm not kidding you. I have friends that are a lot younger than me, many of them, and they think they're old. You don't have to feel that way. Today, we're going to talk about mastering difficult people. Some of those people are very negative that think they're old, and that's why they're aging rapidly. You can't have all these negative emotions going on in your consciousness constantly, because they're draining you. They're affecting your immune system. They're affecting the way you function. They're affecting everything. You need to learn how to let it go. Let it go. So we're going to cover some ways today to master dealing with difficult people and the metaphysical way to stay empowered and peaceful. First of all, you need to set the tone when you're with anyone, because your energy, your magnetism, your vibration has an impact on other people. If you're shopping, if you're one-on-one, if you're on the phone, whatever you're doing, your energy is impacting the person or the people that you're connecting with. And we all have challenging people in our lives. You can't escape them. We're living in a time where people are very polarized. You've got those 3D people stuck in their five senses, and it doesn't matter what you tell them, they can't hear the truth about the fact that what you're putting out, you're getting back. You're like a fountain. You put out lousy, polluted water every day, you're going to pollute yourself and make yourself sick. So it's important for people to understand how this works, because if you don't, you could get very, very sick. I happen to think that, we can create terrible things in our bodies with our emotional states. I've done it to myself. I've overcome a diagnosis of cancer by shifting my thought from fearful, my greatest fear coming upon me, to waking up to realizing I created it with my negative thinking. I transformed it. I've overcome Lyme disease by doing the same thing. Even though it took me a while to break out of that mesmeric spell that these little ticks had bitten me, and there was nothing I could do to overcome it. And then, bingo, I connected with my higher self and figured it out. So it's important to know how to deal with these negative people, because they can pollute you just like a little tick can, or anything else in your environment, if you're not careful, if you don't know how to have dominion over it. And today we're going to learn how to rise above it, because there's always going to be drama in your life. It's inevitable. I don't care if you go get a job, you get married, you have children, you have business partners. There's always drama. That's how people operate. They get triggered, but you can neutralize a lot of this if you keep yourself above it all. I always enjoyed reading those things that were written by that guy who did the radical forgiveness workshops. I can't remember his name, but he used to always cite how when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And, as a Silva Ultramind trainer for many years, That's what I teach too. Spiritual people understand that if you want to heal someone or transform someone or work on them in a way that they don't bother you anymore, you have to have unconditional love. Doesn't mean you have to like the person and their traits, but you have to go to that place where you have unconditional love because they really don't know what they're doing. They're not awake, they're sleepwalking. We call them sheep. 95% of the human race is living in a trance. But if you learn how to deal with people, you're going to be much happier because that will give you the inner peace, the peace that passeth understanding that will allow you to sleep peacefully, to visualize what you want, to connect with your higher self and higher beings that will support you and help you. The angels that are all around us are just waiting for us to ask for help because they're there to help us. That's their job. But we need to ask. And difficult people are often mirrors or teachers to us because when we see something in someone that we don't like, we're actually taking a good look at something in ourselves that we don't like. So it gives us an indication that maybe that's something we need to work on if we're impatient with people because they're just being so negative and so nasty. Maybe we need to look within if it really drives us crazy. Because when you're in a state of mind where none of it moves you, you can deal with people like that and they won't even bother you. I learned that by being a crew member on the airplane for 35 years. I told you the story about how I was lifted out of my body when they were driving me insane. And I had this vision of being like a Mother Teresa figure, just serving the starving people in South Calcutta as a servant, not as someone who expected anything in return. And after that transcendent moment, they never bothered me again. I was able to go to work, just do what I enjoyed doing, and it wasn't stressful in any way, shape, or form, where before it had been when I had to figure out how to deal with these nasty people or these, demanding people. Then, after I got above it and I realized I didn't have to go down into the snake pit, I could just stay above it and watch the movie and do what I had to do graciously, harmoniously, without any kind of illusions or judgments about it. It was a much better experience because honestly, you cannot control them. The only thing you can control is your reaction. And difficult people, like I said, they can be mirrors. What you resist will persist. Boy, I used to tell myself that a lot as a crew member. There were days when I just thought, how did I end up here? I want to be out of here. I'm ready to go to the monastery. But I realized that if I tried to really resist, it would persist. And I needed to let go. There were many lessons to be learned in that environment. And, if you tell yourself that you choose peace over chaos, you will also affirm that, manifest it, put your intention on it. I love that statement in the Course in Miracles. Would you rather be right or happy? You don't have to be right all the time. You don't even have to argue with these people. You don't have to get into a conversation about it. You can just listen. You have your own way of seeing things. If they're not interested in your point of view, don't hammer them over the head with it. It's not worth it. They won't even hear you until they're ready. People will come to you when they need a solution usually, or they're really stuck, or they're frightened, or they just, don't know what to do. But as long as they think they know they're right and they know what they're doing, they will take advantage of being nasty and being, kind of miserable to other people because they kind of like that vibration. That's where the 3D and the 5D people are getting further and further apart because 5D people want harmony, peace, happiness, joy, solutions. 3D people can be very stuck, not really think there's a solution ever. They get more and more depressed about it. They think, the world is just going to go crazy because they can't see anything positive coming down the road. Where if you're a spiritually centered 5D kind of person, there is always a solution. And you go through these bumps and you know, upsets in life because it gets you to the next level. You'll never grow if you don't have something challenging you to use as a stepping stone to get to the next level. That's why you can almost welcome adversity, because adversity is God's opportunity. And, the other thing about difficult people, they're often reacting from pain or fear. Fear is a big emotion, very big emotion. And if you don't have that confidence that you get when you know that you have supernatural powers, you're a child of God, you're a multidimensional being, if you don't have that yet, you're not confident, you can live a very fearful life, thinking that it can just fall apart any minute. And maybe it will, because that's what you're putting your attention on. So you really need to do this inner work on yourself. But I know if you're watching this video, you're more of a 5D person than a 3D person, because you wouldn't even be interested in this. But being able to be around these people that maybe will get more and more negative as we move along in this great awakening, and the gap might get wider and wider, and you might get very confused being around them. Know that you have the power to go within and with your unconditional love vibe, see them spiritually. Don't see the mask they're wearing, because that mask is not real. That's their ego. That's them trying to put themselves into the world in a false way. It's not the truth. When you become intuitive, you can see through that, and you can see if someone has a hidden agenda, or if they're just ego driven, or if they're other centered and trying to do things to help other people and help the planet. Those are the big two groups right now. The self-centered people, it's all about them. They don't really care about other people. And the other centered people that see this as an opportunity. We came here to be here at this time to watch this amazing transition from one level of consciousness experiencing itself to a much higher level of consciousness, where things can be resolved more effortlessly, quickly. There'll be more peace, more harmony. Many of us have had a glimpse of it already. And that's why we're here, to bring it into fruition. So if you think any of this is helpful, press the like button. Go to my website, rebeccatripp.com. I have written books about manifesting, and my own spiritual adventures are in my memoir, Secrets of a Metaphysical Flight Attendant. Plus, I did a couple of courses. One of them is on Udemy, called Metaphysics Made Easy. I was so blown away when I figured out that we have all this inner power, and no one had really been talking about it that openly, around me at least. And I grew up in a normal environment in New England, and I just was kind of blown away that it's not more mainstream. But there are more of us coming forward now, teaching how to manifest, how to heal yourself, how to find products like the Lifewave patches that will enhance your physical being, how to be on the right path. And you are meant to find the answers, not be stuck. So go to the website, rebeccatripp.com, and let me know what you think. If you'd like to connect, I'm always available.